Hello everyone, welcome to Panaceatutor. Today in this video we are going to discuss the topic performance appraisal. Now performance appraisal is the topic which is covered under the subject human resource management, and performance appraisal topic also includes the 360-degree performance appraisal. So under performance appraisal we are going to discuss the following topics: the meaning of performance appraisal, objectives of performance appraisal, relationship of performance appraisal with the job analysis, process of performance appraisal, that is what steps are followed to perform the process of performance appraisal, and the last one is the methods of performance appraisal. And under the methods of performance appraisal we will study both the methods, that is the traditional methods and the modern method. So we will begin our discussion from the meaning of performance appraisal. What is performance appraisal? Performance appraisal is a regular review of an employee's job performance and overall contribution to a company. The other name for performance appraisal are performance review, performance evaluation, or employee appraisal. A performance appraisal basically evaluates an employee's skills, achievements, and growth, and it also reflects the area where he is lacking. Company use performance appraisal to give employees big picture feedback on their work and to justify the pay increases and bonuses as well as the termination decisions. They can be conducted at any given time but tend to be annual, semi-annual, or quarterly. Performance appraisal is a systematic process that evaluates an individual employee's performance in terms of his productivity with respect to the predetermined set of objectives. It is an activity which gives the employee an opportunity to reflect on the duties that were dispatched by him, since it involves receiving feedback regarding their performance. You must know that performance appraisal also evaluates the individual's attitude, his personality, his behavior, and his stability in his job profile. There are various applications of appraisal. It means the performance appraisal is used for the following purposes, like for compensation purpose, performance improvement, for promotion, for termination, to test the validation, and much more. Various performance appraisal methods are followed by organizations to ensure fair appraisal to their employees. Appraisals facilitate communication between the management and the employees, which helps in conveying the expectations of the management to the employee and vice versa. The frequency of appraisal always varies. You must know that in case of startups, it has been observed that shorter the cycles are preferred so that they can motivate their employees more frequently and to perform better. Next is why performance appraisals are done. What are the objectives behind conducting the performance appraisal? Performance appraisal can be done with the following objectives in the mind. The first one is to maintain the records in order to determine the compensation packages, wage structure, salary raises, etc. Second one is to identify the strength and weaknesses of employees to place the right men on the right job. Third one is to maintain and assess the potential present in a person for further growth and development. Next, to provide a feedback to employees regarding their performance and related status. Basically, by studying the objectives of performance appraisal, you came to know that performance appraisal is done to determine the compensation packages, to determine the area where an employee is lacking, to determine the area where he needs the training, and to devise the growth and development strategies for them. One important point that you must know that there is a relationship of performance appraisal with job analysis. Now, how these both things are related? Basically, job analysis involves defining the job requirement. When the job requirement has been defined, it will help us in developing the standards for that job. When the standards are developed, then these become the basis for performance appraisal. So, it defines the relationship of the performance appraisal and job analysis. Our next topic is performance appraisal process. Performance appraisal process is done by following a series of steps, and it should be done properly because the performance appraisal will tell us about the performance of the employees. The first step in the performance appraisal process is establishing standards. It means the standards for the performance are fixed. For example, the standard is fixed that a particular job has to be done in 10 days. Here 10 days is the standard for the job on the basis of which the performance will be evaluated. The next step is communicating the standards to employees. Like in the above example, we have decided that the job has to be done within 10 days. Now this 10 days criteria has to be communicated to the employees so that they know that they have to complete their work within the 10 days period. The third step is measuring the actual performance. In this step, the employee's performance is measured. The performance may be measured through personal observation, through statistical reports, or through oral reports, or through written reports. Next step is comparing the actual performance with the standards. Now, in the above example, we have decided that the work should be completed within 10 days. For example, if an employee has done the work within 8 days, it means he has completed his work early than the standard performance. And if he has done his work within 12 days, it means he has delayed his work by 2 days. Like this, the actual performance is compared with the standard set. The next step is discussing the reports with the employees. After the performance has been measured, it is the duty of the employer to communicate the reports, to communicate their performance and to communicate their feedback to the employees so that employees can know their weak areas, their strong areas. The next step is taking corrective action. If any corrective action is required, then it will also be taken. Our next topic is methods of performance appraisal. These methods are very important from examination point of view. Many times, many questions have been asked from this topic, so we will discuss this topic in detail. Methods of performance appraisal. The criteria for performance appraisal methods are based upon various aspects like productivity, quality of work, duration of service and training. Productivity is measured mostly in the case of manufacturing industry, that is the number of units to be manufactured or delivered by the employee. In case of quality of work, precision of the work done is taken into consideration. Duration of services is used as a criterion by the government entities where they assume the longest serving employee to be the deserved one for an appraisal. When an employee is hired in an organization, his appraisal is subjective to the speed at which he grasps the things and information he is exposed to. Each method of performance appraisal has its strengths and weaknesses, and it may be suitable for one organization and non-suitable for the another one. As such, there is no single appraisal method accepted and used by all organizations to measure their employees' performance. Moving our discussion towards the type of the performance appraisal methods. The performance appraisal methods are divided into two parts, the traditional methods and the modern methods. Now we will begin our discussion from the traditional methods. Traditional approach is also known as traits approach. It is based on the evaluation of the traits in a person. This system may list 10 to 15 personal characteristics such as ability to get along with people, competence, judgment, initiative, leadership, etc. There may also be added work-related characteristics such as job knowledge, ability to complete an assignment on time, success in carrying out plans, efforts in cost reduction in the recent past. Personal traits are also included in this. The rater appraises the subordinates on the basis of these standards and give him the rating. Since there may be different methods of rating people on the basis of such dimensions, we will discuss the following methods under the traditional approach. The first method under the traditional method is ranking method. It is the oldest and the simplest formal systematic method of performance appraisal in which employee is compared with all others for the purpose of placing order of worth. For example, there are 10 employees in an organization. The employer will rate them from 1 to 10. The highest rank will be given to the employee who will done the best performance, and the lowest rank will be given to that employee who is performing unsatisfactory. The second method is paired comparison method. In this method, each employee is compared with the other employee on one-on-one basis, usually based on one trait only. What happens under this? For example, there are 5 employees in an organization A, B, C, D and E. In this, A's performance will be compared with B, C, D and E. Likewise, B's performance will be compared with A, C, D and E. C's performance will be compared with A, B, D and E, and so on. In this, paired comparison is done, that is, one employee performance is compared with the other employee. The next method is grading method. In this method, certain categories of worth are established in advance and carefully defined. There can be 3 categories established for employees: outstanding, satisfactory and unsatisfactory. There can be more than 3 grades. The grades criteria will be dependent upon the type of the organization. Employee performance is compared with the grade definitions. For example, an employee who is performing the best, he will be considered under the grade outstanding, and the employee whose performance is not according to the standard, he may be given the grade unsatisfactory. The next method is forced distribution method. This system is based upon the presumption that all employees can be divided into 5 categories, that is outstanding, above average, average, below average and poor. The rater is asked to place 10% of persons in outstanding group, 20% of employees in above average, 40% in average, 20% below average and 10% in the poor category. The main idea in this system is to spread the ratings in a number of grades. In this, an employer is having an obligation that he has to place 10% of employees in the outstanding category. That means he is forced to do this. Likewise, he is forced to place 10% of employees in the poor category. Under this, the rating are fixed that they have to place the employees in the following categories. The next method is checklist method. The basic purpose of utilizing checklist method is to ease the evaluation burden upon the rater. In this method, a series of statements are prepared by the HR department in the form of yes or no. The checklist is then presented to the rater to tick the appropriate answer relevant to the appraisal. Like for example, an employee performance is divided into following 7 points, like is he regular on job? Yes or no. Does he maintain the discipline well? Yes or no. Does he show consistent behavior to all his colleagues? Yes or no. Is he interested in new development? Yes or no. Does he ever make mistakes? Yes or no. Does he show any biasness to particular colleague? Yes or no. Is he willing to help his colleague? Yes or no. Like this, a checklist is prepared and the rater has to tick the responses in the form of yes or no. When the checklist is completed, it is sent to the HR department to prepare the final scores for all the appraisals based on all questions. The next method is critical incident method. This method attempts to measure the worker's performance in terms of certain events or incidents that occur in the course of work. The assumption in this method is that the performance of the employee on the happening of the critical event determine his failure or success. The supervisor keeps a record of critical incident at different times and then rates him on this basis. The next method is field review method. Under the field review method, an expert from the personnel department interviews the line supervisors to evaluate their respective subordinates. The expert questions the supervisor and obtain all the important information on each employee and take notes in his notebook. There is no rating form with factors or degrees, but overall ratings are obtained. The employees are usually classified into 3 categories as outstanding, satisfactory and unsatisfactory. The classification for the employee may depend from company to company. The next method is free essay method. Essay method is the simplest form of performance appraisal method. In this method, the rater writes a narrative description on an employee's strength, weaknesses, past performance, potential and the suggestions for improvement. Its positive point is that it is simple in use, it does not require any complex formats and extensive training to complete it. You must keep in mind while preparing an essay on the employee, the rater generally considered the following factors: the job knowledge and the potential of the employee, employee's relation with the co-workers, employee's traits and attitudes, employee's understanding of the company's program, policies and objectives, and development needs for the future. Next method under the traditional approach is confidential report. It is the traditional way of appraising the employees mainly in the government departments. You must know that, and it is important that confidential reports are only prepared in the government departments. Evaluation is made by the immediate boss or supervisor for giving effect to promotion and transfer. Usually a structured format is devised to collect the information on employee strength, weaknesses, intelligence, attitude, character, attendance, discipline, etc. With this, our traditional methods are completed. Moving towards the modern methods. The first method under the modern method is the assessment center method. The purpose of this method is to test the candidate in social situations. It can be used by startups for evaluating the employees serving at senior level. This method of evaluation is helpful for assessing the managers who have to deal with their subordinates, peers and supervisors for day-to-day business. It means under the assessment center method, real life business situations are created and the managers and the employers observe the behavior of their employees, that how they will behave in a particular situation. It involves in-basket exercises, role-playing incident, business games are played and many other similar exercises. It gives the employer an insight to the personality of the employee, like whether an employee is open to others or not, what is his tolerance level, whether he is an introvert or extrovert, what is his level of acceptability. The next method under the modern method is human resource accounting method. You must know that human resource accounting method is one of the contemporary issue. Human resources are a valuable asset for any organization. We know this. This asset can be valued in terms of money. Human resource accounting method attaches money values to the value of the firm's internal human resources and its external customer goodwill. When competent and well-trained employees leave an organization, the human asset is decreased and vice versa. So this human resource accounting basically helps an organization to evaluate the performance of the employee in terms of its cost, that what costs have been involved while employing them, and also they are evaluated on the basis of the contribution and the benefits they have provided to the organization. Cost of human resources consists of expenditure on human resource planning, recruitment, selection, induction, training, compensation, etc. And contribution, it means the benefits that the employees have provided is in terms of the money value of the productivity or the value added by the human resources. The next important method under modern method is management by objectives. First of all, you all must know that management by objective is a term that has been given by Peter F. Drucker, and many times this question has been asked. So you must know that management by objective is given by Peter F. Drucker. Now how this method is used as a performance appraisal method. A rather interactive and fair form of appraisal, the management by objective method is less time consuming and of course it is a cost effective method. The technique involves setting up of objectives and goals for the employees either by the employer or his manager or both the employee and the employer. It means that employees in this know that what they are required to perform and in how much time they have to perform their work. This performance appraisal method helps the employees to perform better because he is well aware of his goals and already knows the quality and the quantity that needs to be delivered. It has been observed that when both employee and employer together decide the objectives, the probability of the individual meeting the goal is much higher. This is a fair method of evaluating because the employee knows the odds that he is measured against. It doesn't involve giving constant feedback to the employee because he is being constantly self-introspective. You know this self-analysis is done only in management by objectives. The next method is behaviorally anchored rating scale. A behaviorally anchored rating scale combines the benefits of critical incidents and the graphic rating scale by anchoring a scale with specific behavioral examples of good or poor performance. Its proponents claim that it provides the better and more equitable appraisal than the other tools. Many times this question has been asked that behaviorally anchored rating scale is a combination of two methods, critical incident and graphic rating techniques, and these both methods have been discussed in our above discussion of traditional methods. The last and the most important method of performance appraisal is 360-degree performance appraisal. If you see your syllabus, then 360-degree performance appraisal have been separately written. So it means it is very important and separately question can be asked from this. What is 360-degree performance appraisal method? 360-degree performance appraisal method is also known as multilateral feedback. It is the most comprehensive appraisal where the feedback about the employee's performance comes from all the sources. It is very important that here the employee performance is evaluated from all the sources that come in contact with the employee on his job. The 360-degree appraisal provides a broader perspective of employee's performance because it covers all the areas of his performance. This technique facilitates greater self-development of employees because self-appraisal is also included in 360-degree appraisal. What are the components of 360-degree performance appraisal? It includes self-appraisal. It means an employee evaluates himself. The next component is the superior appraisal. It means the exec and the immediate superior will evaluate his employee performance. Subordinate appraisal and the peer appraisal. Now there are various kind of appraisals, or we can say there are various kind of degrees included in the 360-degree performance appraisal. When we talk about the 90-degree performance appraisal, it means only the superior is doing the appraisal. It means only superior appraisal is done. When we are talking about 180-degree performance appraisal, it means the employee is evaluating himself, that is self-appraisal is done, as well as the superior appraisal is done. The next is the 270-degree performance appraisal. In this, what happens is that an employee evaluates himself also, superior appraisal is done, also his subordinates are asked about its performance, that is subordinate appraisal is also done. 360-degree performance appraisal means all the four components are included in doing the performance appraisal. Now, after 360-degree performance appraisal, there are also two degrees which are very important. 540-degree of performance appraisal. What happens under this? It includes all the four components of performance appraisal and also some external authority, maybe it a government or a private agency or any other agency that is external to the company. And the last is 720-degree of performance appraisal. It means the performance appraisal includes 360-degree performance appraisal once, plus second also it includes 360-degree of performance appraisal. It means the performance appraisal by all the four components is done twice. That's why it is known as 360-degree plus 360-degree is equal to 720-degree of performance appraisal. Thank you everyone. If you like our video, please subscribe our channel, and if you want to avail the full courses of UGC Net Management, Commerce and Economics, you can mail us on the given mail ID, or you can even contact us or WhatsApp us on the given mobile number. Thank you.